This is the first video that I'm doing, a little mini series on replacing PEX in someone's home. This home has 2 full baths. The bathroom downstairs was recently done. It was 6 years ago. So they said they don't want any holes, put any walls or anything. So I'm going to be attaching the PEX to the existing copper, and I'll be installing valves on the copper lines. And in case in the future, or someday down the road, they probably will need PEX run down to those fixtures. So there's a number of different systems. What I have here, that's the amount of fittings that's required for this job. There might even be a few more T's that I put in there, but anyway, I just piled them together. But I'm going to individually go through the fittings, and you'll be able to hopefully it'll help you take out fittings when you go to do your job or your little repair job. So this is the Vega system, and it's similar to the crimp ring system actually. The crimp ring system consists of a copper ring that is just crimped down onto the fitting. And of the systems that there's 2 of them that, say for example, Home Depot have, I prefer this one. The tool's $100 to purchase, and it does 1/2 inch and 3/4. There's a more expensive tool there for $199. It might be a little easy to operate, but you can get away with the one for $99. So that's the crimp ring system, and this one is the Cinch clamp system. And what it is, the stainless steel clamp, a set of jaws goes over the clamp like so and presses down on it and makes a tight seal. Both of these rings, that clamp and the ring, are back 1/8 of an inch from the end of the pipe. I read where it was actually 1/8 to 1/4, but 1/8 actually will give you these 2 barbs here in the middle, and that's what I'd be shooting for. The cost of that system isn't overly expensive. The reason that I've started going with Vega, I've used Reha for years, and Reha's a great system. And you have a tool that's right over here, the red one, that you pump up the pipe and you pull a sleeve down, and it compresses the pipe into the fitting. That's an excellent system, but the price of it has gone through the roof. It's more than twice the price of Vega, and the homeowner is going to end up going for that, having to pay for that. So it's hard to justify a 1/2 inch tee costing $8 where a Vega tee would cost $3.50. There's the tools for Vega, and they match the fittings. This being a 3/4 inch 90 and has the same color, and the yellow tool matches the 1/2 inch fitting. So that's the tools. That system is actually the tool that they have for the crimp ring system is very similar to this. It has a 3/4 and 1/2 inch jaw there. Whichever one you're using at the time, you simply put it in place, and it just crimps the copper ring and compresses the pipe into the fitting. So this home has a well, and currently there's a 3/4 inch copper water line, which is great to see. I am going to run 3/4 cold. I'm going to run a 3/4 inch main, and I'm going to take a number of T's off to supply water to the fixtures, and I'm going to run a 3/4 inch cold line over to the hot water tank and come off that with a 3/4 inch manifold. He said he wants as little copper as possible, and I have used copper manifolds off the hot water tank, but I'm going to use I'm going to actually use T's, 4 or 5 T's I'll put together. I'll mount them to the wall, and hopefully everything will work out fine. So coming off the pump tank, first off I'm going to be coming off with a union. It's a 3/4 inch union, and this is a 3/4 inch brass nipple close. Then I'm putting a 3/4 inch ball valve. I'm a big ball valve fan. I don't use anything else when it comes to the main shutoff in anyone's home. Nothing worse than seeing a gate valve there and someone's paid $10,000 for a well, and to see a gate valve coming off the pump tank is hard to swallow. So that's the Jenkins gate valve, great product. Now this is a 3/4 male NPT, National Pipe Thread, to 3/4 PEX. That will be going in there, and it'll be just sitting like so, and I'll run the 3/4 off there. So that's a 3/4 M male NPT to 3/4 PEX. And I'm going to be coming over and coming up, running a little bit of 3/4, and then I'm going to have a 3/4 inch PEX T, 3/4 by 3/4 by 3/4. It's all PEX. One will be heading this branch will be taken off, and it'll be picking up a number of fixtures. This one will be coming over and picking up the hot water tank. So when I get over to the hot water tank, I am going to put a union on top, 3/4 inch brass union, 3/4 inch brass nipple, another valve, and another 3/4 male NPT, National Pipe Thread, by 3/4 PEX adapter. That'll be the cold water coming into the top of the tank. Coming out of the tank, there'll be another union, and I put 2 unions there because I can guarantee that within the next 5 to 6 years that hot water tank's going to have to be replaced. I think there's a button at the factory they press after the warranty's up on them, but I'll put 2 unions there, and it's just a matter of draining the tank and undoing the unions, taking out and reinstalling a new one. So off that I'll be coming with another male adapter, up with a 90, over to the wall, and there I'll be making a header, and it will be made of 3/4 by 3/4 by half T's, and I will have 5 of them in there. There'll be one to the kitchen sink, one to the shower, one to the tub and shower, one to the wash in the laundry room, and the other one will pick up a few basins that are in the home. So that's a 3/4 by half T. This is a 3/4 inch T. One thing to keep in mind when you're talking, the first thing to talk about when you're talking about a T is you're talking about the run. Are you talking about the main? And the branch is the second thing that you will, or the third thing that you will actually describe. So there's a 3/4 PEX by 3/4 PEX by half PEX T. And Vega, another thing I do like about them is they're bronze, so they're going to be around for many years to come. That is a straight, or a 90-degree elbow, half PEX by half PEX 90. There's a 1/2 inch wing back elbow. That will be used for the washer. I'll bring 2 of them, bring them through the side wall, and I'll set them in faucets in them. I I have 3 different sediment faucets here. And I know the mini ball valve, everybody loves ball valves, but I don't use them on washers. One thing that I found, and I wish they still made them, years ago they made a sediment faucet that had a nice swoop in it, like so. And they don't make them anymore. I know boiler drains that has a nice turn in it, but this valve here will be suffice. I won't be using these because by the time you thread this into the wall, this the male hose end will actually be a little close to the wall, and I just like it off a little more than that one there would be. So that's what type of sediment faucet I'm using for the washer. Now, since I'm attaching to the copper, I'm in the basement bathroom. This is a half PEX by half copper female adapter. So I'll simply clean this. I'll clean the pipe that's sticking out of the wall. I'll solder that on there. I'll put a short piece of PEX in like so, and I will install a valve just like so. So in the future, when they have to run PEX down there, and there will be time because they've had a few pinhole leaks in their copper, simply be able to shut that off, cut it here, and continue on with PEX. I have a number of valves, and every fixture in the house has to be valved. Every new home that's built, you should check to make sure that you do have valves on all your faucets. Another thing, outside faucets. I'm putting 2 new outside faucets in, and they have vacuum breakers on them. This is code in Canada. I'm not sure if it is in the US, but it is in Canada. And a valve should go before this outside faucet. If there's ever trouble down the road, we'll have a bit of a time shutting it off. Now I am looking for, there we go. Yeah, if you ever have a leak down the road, you want to be able to shut it off. Outside faucets, I use female adapters. Some people solder copper into the end of the frost-free faucet. If you ever decide to do that, make sure your valve is open. There's a rubber. The seat is up here. This is where actually the water gets shut off. I don't recommend soldering copper into it, but if you're ever stuck, I guess, or whatever, just make sure the faucet's open when you solder it. So this is a half PEX by half female NPT adapter, and it's just a matter of putting some Teflon onto this, threading the female adapter on, and away you go. If you have to replace this in the future, it's just a matter of unscrewing it out of the female adapter and installing a new one. So there's 2 of them to go in. We've talked about the valves. Here are the shutoffs. There's a 1/2 inch or a half PEX by 3/8 ball valve, and this will be going on every fixture in the house. That one's Viga. This one is Riha. You can actually see there's a little more timber in this one than there is in the Viga, but they do the exact same job. That one's more expensive. I'm really disappointed with that because Riha is a great system. What do we have? What else do we have here? There is a 3/4 by half by half. So it's 3/4 PEX by half PEX by half PEX T. This will be at the end of the line. the end of the main that I run down, this will pick up the second last fixture, and this will pick up the last, I believe. When I'm heading that way, I had a look at it, and it looks like it is the outside faucet. This will be picking up the toilet. When you go to replace your water lines, leave all the copper there until you do the main tie-in. Run your mains, put all your T's off, then go ahead and do your tie-ins. There's a 3/4 inch coupling and a 3/4 by half. Many spare fittings here. I know I'm not going to use them all, but I will use them on the next job. So, clamps. Let's get to the clamps. So these are called J clamps or Talon clamps. I've heard both. That's 1/2 inch. Clips on quite easily. Nice nail. You drive it in. I apply a clamp to every floor joist. That's just something that I do. It looks better. You don't have to worry about the pipe hanging down. So this is a 3/4 inch J clamp. It's just a matter of driving the nail into the wood and away you go. Also, what I used for quite a while when I first get into it were these 3/4 and 1/2 inch clamps. So you could put 3/4 up, and it also held 1/2 inch. But I've since stopped using them. These small clamps are about 1/5 of the price as that combination. So that's something that I've tried to stay away from. Something else, do yourself a favor. I have numerous sets of cutters. I just grabbed this set. Don't use a utility knife, a saw, anything like that. Good set of cutters will save you a lot of time, and it's the only way to travel. We're just about through here, so I'm just going to talk about these support bends. I know I mentioned them before in another video, and I'll just whip them out there right quick. Something that I have noticed, the first ones that I used over the years didn't have this rib. I call it a rib, and it's a support rib really. And what it does, it keeps your pipe nice and square, right? You'll get a nice 90-degree bend. This one you actually feed through like so, and bend it just like this. Another nice feature about this is it has a nice curve on this end that holds that right into place. Some of the other brands don't, and it's something to really keep in mind if you're purchasing these, because it makes a big difference to have that. This one here, you can see it as well, has a great bend on it. Drop that in there. And that's another one. Excellent. I'll be using the purple and the white. The steel, they do hold well. They hold very well. You'll get a little few rust spots or whatever if you run a lot of cold water with these, but for the most part they work very well. This one is okay. It's a little heavier than the others, but it holds a half decent 90. One thing that I did find just recently, these wall supports, what this would be used for, and I have a plastic one and I have a metal one. What this would be used for, if you had pipe coming up through a plate in an inside wall, never run your water lines in the outside wall if you were in a climate where the temperature goes below freezing. I've seen it. Anyway, so you'd bring your pipe up through the floor, you'd put your bend down like so. Bear with me. This was one that I wasn't overly struck on. because of that reason. You can see here it barely holds, and I actually went for a bit of a drive one day to do a little project, little job, and I end up having to put tie wraps on here to keep the pipe in the clamp. So when you're picking out support bend, see if you can get them that have a little bit more of a turn here, at least past the halfway point in a piece of pipe. Getting back to the support of one of these bends, this is a prime example of a bend that doesn't have this rib section, like so, and it's probably on about 110-degree angle there now. And what happens, it'll push this right up, it'll push it outside a 2x4 wall. I'm not struck on that, so I stay away from these. You can get them in metal and they work great. So that's it about as far as the fittings that are required. If you have any questions or whatever, just let me know, and we will be going to step 2 in the near future. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.